Okay, hiya plastic people. So today we're just going to do a real quick one, get the Rook printing. I've already gotten E-steps configured, did a first layer test, but I haven't printed any actual models yet. And then while that's going, we will, or I will, be working on getting some heat sets removed from old prints that I don't need them anymore. They're old clicky mounts. And I'm also going to get some heat sets installed into a hose adapter or to put on my Saturn II. So I've already got those parts printed out. They are right here. And they're out of ABS. And should work just fine. See if I can get the good spot here for the camera. So these are just some plates. This will hold the fan and that'll go that way. So the fan will sandwich in between, hose will go on there. I printed out two of these so that I can drill a hole through a I think a 1x4 that I've got out in the garage that I can cut down the length to block off the window, and then I'll have the hose going there and then blowing straight outside. These two pieces are what will mount onto the shroud for the printer with your screw holes here, or your screw heads here, and then this is just a blanking plate that'll magnetically clip there. That way I can close it off when I don't need it. So we'll get heat sets removed out of these, all these pieces I don't need here. These are M2 heat sets. This one busted, so can't use it anymore. These were off of the salad fork. So I'll get those salvaged out as well. That way I can reuse those heat sets since I can't use the plastic parts anymore. Hopefully I've got a good camera angle on the main cam here for that. Looks a little dark. Haven't changed anything. See if I can brighten that up. There we go, that ought to be better. First things first, let's get the print started. Let me turn on the soldering iron so it gets up to temp. That way we can salvage these heat sets. So let's go ahead and we'll get the print started on here. Hopefully everything works good. I think I got it set to where it will home correctly initially, and then heat up and start the print. This is just a purple PLA. You can see it in the back. It's Polymaker matte purple PLA. Being an open printer, I'm not worried about printing anything but PLA on it. I probably could have went ahead and done as the instructions say and printed out everything in PLA. I don't think it would have made a whole lot of difference on that, just because it is just going to be open. I'm not going to be printing anything really high temp on there. I think the instructions do advise printing the bed holder, this piece here, out of ABS still, just in case. Let me bring it up over here. There we go. Make sure I get the right one. So just sent the standard Voron cube, nothing particularly special there. You can see some reason it has stopped. Well, it says it's printing, but oh, the heat bed hasn't turned on yet is what it is. No failure. So there it goes. There's the heat bed turning on, and it'll only go up to 60 since we're printing PLA, and then that'll keep going. So let's get it started. I will get see if I can get this camera in a little better spot while that starts, so that we can pull out some heat sets. And I'll just show you my method. I'm sure others will do it differently, but this way works for me. And then, granted, we're still waiting on the heat bed to get to temp on here, but it's only showing about 40 minutes. We may or may not be on quite that long. So let's go back to here, see if we can get this to focus. My iron is already on. It's got the 3 mil part in. I'll have to swap to the other. I've got a set here of different insert tools, and I'll have to swap to a smaller one to do these 2 mil. I think I've got a 2, a 2.5, the 3, 3.5, and 4. So there's my 2 mil one. I'll have to swap to that in order to do those. I should need 8, and it looks like I'll be salvaging 8. So the 8 that I salvage here will go straight onto these parts, which will be these here and these here. Let's get that going. I don't know how well this is focusing today. Does not look very well. And I know I've got light. I don't think it'll let me focus manually, since I've got the auto set. That may work out better. While this heats up. Let's see if I can, yep, there it goes. So, not that you can see much yet, but there we go. So it's got my, I pretty much always do a skirt, which might stop with some of the new, I guess this file has supports enabled. I forgot to uncheck it, but that's all right. It'll still go fine. I've had to replace the A and B motors in the salad fork, and when I sliced the one for it to test it, I did the same thing. I forgot to disable supports and ended up printing with supports. So first layer's going down good. Let's go back to this one and we'll start salvaging some heat sets. And all I do is I'll get it in here, let it sit for a few seconds just to start melting the plastic, and then I'll just slowly back it out. There's still some plastic on there. It's not going to hurt anything. I probably should be going from the other side for this one. Get my square, if I can smush them in. And these will be, well, I want to go from this side. Well, no, I'll flip it over. I'll do it from this side for the other ones. That way, when I screw in the fan, it's going to be coming from this side. So I'd rather be trying to pull through the material than pull with it not in the material. Not ideal. I've got my control box down here sitting on top of my trash bin, my little tiny trash bin, but the extension cord doesn't quite reach up to the top. And I've just got this set to 300. And that's going to help me get both out and then back in. So what you can do as well, I don't have it here with me. I need to get another one out of the garage and put it up here. But brass brushes that you would use to clean off your nozzle with these heat sets, if they're particularly bad, covered in plastic, I'll take that brass brush and just brush them off a bit and get them nice, you know, get them fairly clean. They don't have to be perfect. And on this mod mat, I mean, I don't have to worry about burning it up or anything. I could just as easily just roll it across the mod mat and get most of it off, but then I got to clean the mod mat even more. So I'd rather use the little brass brushes. They work well, and you know, what are they, 50 cents or so at Harbor Freight for the cheap ones, although I'd rather spend more to get them at Lowe's or Home Depot. They're just better quality brass brushes. And yeah, the ones at Harbor Freight work, but I can get so many more uses out of the better brand name ones, so I'd rather get them from Home Depot. All right, so that one will go there. This will go on here with the fan in the middle. I don't have the, I've got a fan, I don't know if I'm going to use it. As it will, but it'll fit here with that on it. And then I'll have it in this orientation so that it is sucking out of the enclosure. And I'm thinking, haven't decided, but I might take some of these measurements and print out a TPU gasket for either side as well, and see how that works. Let's see if we've got a better view. Here we go. So, and you can see we're still going along pretty good. I don't know if I can scoot that back too awful much because of the filament roll here. And the filament roll, let's see if that works. That's not too bad. The filament roll, I did print out another spool holder in the same colors as the printer. Let's see how well this works. Not very. Well, it's there. Hello, I can't pronounce the name, but hello and welcome. Get these last few done here. I'll just pull them out, let them cool a little bit. They go in really quick and easy though when you just pull them out and put them straight in. That'll be this piece here. I'll see if I've got the screws to go ahead. I've got the cover underneath the table here, so we can do the get it mounted. And then I still have to order the vent tube along with the fans. To get that, get it all set up in there. And I'll probably take and get some weather stripping to put around the wood that I'm going to use as a baffle on the window. Some of this I'm not sure even when I printed it. I believe this mount was the original clicky mount that I had for my 2.4. When I first built it 2 years or plus ago. So this would have been on my Prusa. Definitely feels like it's got some nice infill because it's a little heavier than I'm expecting for a piece this size. Okay. Now we'll turn it off so it can cool down a bit so I can swap over to that 2 mil to do the M.2s there. I can remember where I've got the file so that I can double check the lengths for the screws. We can go back to this one, see how it's coming along there. So it's asking for 8 6x3 magnets, which I've got those. Uh, 4 25 M3s and 4 10 M3s. I'm sure I've got both of those. Just need to make sure I get them in a ferrous metal so that it's magnetic, which this kit should be. And 6x3s. Easy way to make sure that they're ferrous. Looks like, yeah, they're all coming up. So I need 4 10 mil. Hey, magnets are good for a number of different things. That's going to be what holds these together. And then, of course, your magnets are going to stick to those. So I need magnets in here. And I won't be able to squish this one as easy as I'd like. Hey, Bliney. Hey, 3D Experiments. Yeah, I got it printing. I did the I did like layer test yesterday just to make sure I had adhesion and make sure the G code was working. That way I could do the actual first print today on stream. So that's what we're doing. And then while it's printing, I am putting together magnetic vent holder for my Saturn II. That way I can buy the hose and the fan and vent it out the window rather than just into the room. I want to start trying to use that printer a little bit more than I have been. So I figure that's a good way to make sure I'm actually going to use the thing. The nice thing about this is with these, I don't have to make sure they're all the same way because these two pieces are never going to touch. These will just be onto the screw heads. I don't have a next build set yet. I haven't decided. I've been looking at a few different things. A Micron is still on my list of want to builds. So I don't know if I'm going to do that one or not. I need to look and see what other new ones are out there, just to see what else might be available, rather than just jumping on, and saying, okay, this one I haven't got yet, and it's an older build or something, and going through and building it. I'll have to look and see what the Panda Mini is. The whatever one that is, the inverted one, I've been kind of peeking at it a little bit too. I don't know if I'll do that. I might wait till LDO has their kits available on it and then do it. We'll see. I haven't decided. I think the next thing I'm actually going to do is either work on these laser cut marble runs that I've got that are from Christmas last year that I still have to build. And I've also got, get it in the right spot, the Out of Marbles kit. So this has got the motor, the power switch, and all the marbles are in here from them, and I've got the STLs from them as well. So I think I'm going to be doing that as well. And eventually, I do want to jump on the whole Nerf blaster bandwagon and build a couple of those. So while I don't have anything definite yet, I've got ideas at least. So we'll see where it goes and how it pans out. But I do think it might be the laser cut marble runs next. Okay, I'll have to take a peek at that. I knew he had the Rook 180 or the Rook something that was enclosed as well. I didn't see the Panda the last time I looked, but I'll have to take a peek at that. I like doing these because they're different than you know, like the Vorons, the Rooks, those kits. I like doing those because they're different from any of the commercial printers that are out there, basically. And I've got more doing it that way too. I get more say in how it's built, how the firmware is done. I'm not doing it just however they want it done because it's the only option you've got with a lot of those. You don't really have anything you can upgrade this or upgrade that, but you're still stuck on a lot more. I can customize these hobbyist printers like this to my heart's content, really. If I want to build it straight up like the mod, like the manual, I can. If I want to mod it out of the gate, I can. I can choose all my colors. So I kind of like doing them. And that's the back plate coming off of the cover for the Saturn, and it's got heat sets in it. So I'll put that in with the other things that I've got. So let's see if this is in frame. There we go. Somewhat in frame. That was the one I was thinking of. Yes, thanks, 3D Experiments. The Evolution. It did look interesting. I don't know. This is, well, like I said, I think last stream or one of the other streams, this Rook will probably end up getting donated to Make Nashville. And I know a friend of mine helps run Make Nashville, and I'm sure they could use some extra 3D printers for their makerspace. So I might just donate this to them. I've got the V0 at 120 cube already. I've got the Solid Fork at 160 cube. Small printers definitely have their place. They're nice, they're quick to heat up. If all you need is a small part printed quickly, can't really argue too much with them. I mean, they heat up quick, they'll print real quick. You just get it done and move on to the next thing. And I mean, I still need to upgrade the 350 V2.4. That might be one of the next things just to get it. I don't know if I'll do it on stream or not, but it might be just done on stream just to have content. And but it definitely needs to get done. I've got to go from the dual MGN9 to the single MGN12, and I've got CNC tap. I've got all the parts printed. All I've got to do is pull the thing out of the closet and start tearing it down to install them. That's it. So that might be one of the next things to do. And this last one doesn't seem to be lined up. Oh, there it goes. So it might be, that might be something we do on stream. That thing just takes so long to heat up. Yeah, maybe if we can get the local builder makerspace built up a bit, maybe we can convince Micro Center or some other store in the area to start carrying filament, so I don't have to always order it. All right, there we go. So that holds on with magnets, and then I'll have the fan on there, and that'll sandwich on and run my hose. And then when I'm not using the fan, that piece holds on with magnets to keep the fumes inside, and then I can use the USB one that came with it, the filter that came with the Saturn II, with that cover on it, and keep the fumes inside. All right, that was a little bit quicker than expected. Let's go back to this one. I'll change out to the smaller tip for my heat sets so I can pull these M2s out. These things are perfectly usable still. I mean, there's nothing wrong with them. They may just have a little plastic stuck on them, but they'll still work once I put them in another piece. I might as well use them. Pull them out, and if you get an M2 that's modeled, a part that's modeled for the M2 inserts, I like those a whole lot better than the self-tapping screws. I've stripped way too many of them things out, and then when you try to remove them so you can put one in that hasn't been stripped out, you may ruin your plastic. And here we go. So that's coming along pretty good. I used that, a friend of mine lost her cat fairly recently, so I used this same filament. One of her favorite colors is, one of their favorite colors is purple. So I printed out a nice cat model at 200%. So it's about 10 inches tall using the same purple filament. So I expect she'll enjoy that whenever we can get it to them. They'll enjoy it. I moved it too close. Trying to get a good sweet spot. Yeah, I don't, that I don't want to do with my 2.4. It's a 350, but it's such a great ABS beast. I don't want to dedicate it just to PLA and PETG, especially when I'd like to have some larger ABS prints as well. So, but it takes so long to heat that bed up. And then even there, before I can print ABS, ASA, I want the chamber hot. And I'm going to add a chamber thermistor like I've got in the Trident, rather than rely on the chamber thermistor that's built onto the tool head board in there, because that doesn't seem to be correct. I think that because it's in the enclosure of the stealth burner cover, I think that it's reading a lot warmer than it actually is. So I want one in the actual chamber. I'll keep polling it just, to measure both temps, but I don't want to rely on it for my only temp. All right, so I'm going to do these little M2 ones. Coming from computer background, I want to say M.2. And these should be ASA as well, but man, it came out of there a lot easier than expected. And I'll let these cool down, and then I'll put them back in the box. And then I can use them again on, I don't know when. I've got a whole bunch of these M2 heat sets. Just don't have a whole lot of options to use them, but I'm going to start, I think, anywhere that it can be modeled, even if I have to go in and try to edit it. I think I might start using these rather than the self-tappers where possible. I know there's some spots like the clicky probe and some of the other small areas where there's just not enough room for a heat set. So it makes a lot more sense to use the self-tappers. But these things seem so much more secure when you're using them. Okay, that's done. Let those cool so that I can .3D experiments. The one that is in my Trident is just a thermistor, the Semitech thermistor that you would normally use in a hot end, like a V6. And that's all I'm going to use in the 2.4. I had spares of those for the Prusa and for when I had the Dragon hot end in the 2.4. Since it used the same thermistors as the V6, I just had spares of those. Now that everything I've got is Revo, I don't have any other use for those. So rather than throw them away, they're just going to get repurposed as chamber thermistors. It seems to work perfectly fine on the Trident. I've had no problems from it. That thing has gotten up to 4550C when I'm printing out ABS, and that thing, I don't remember how long ago it was. It's been at least 2 months, I think, since I finished it. Let's see if I can pull up that printer and remember where. So right now it's sitting idle. I don't have it. There's nothing on it right now. I printed these rollers for the Rook's spool holder last night. So right now it's reading a chamber temp of 26C. So a little cooler than the extruder and the heat bed. So that's fine. I mean, within a degree, two of the others, and it's just here we go. Since it is just one of those Semitechs, here we go. Temperature sensor PT1000 is what I'm using in there. Then I think the other ones might be the Semitechs, but yeah, repurpose them if you've got them laying around like I did. There's no reason to just let them sit or toss them if you know you're not going to use it. Since I know I'm not going to use it on any of my current printers anyway. and if I use one on a upcoming build, I'll probably be ordering the hot end to go with it. So the hot ends typically come with the heater and the thermistor. So those are just spares. So I might as well use them. Yeah, you can see here what the 2 months or so I've had the Trident built, and it's not getting a lot of use, but I've already put 132 hours on it and 121 total print jobs. It's been the normal things at the beginning of the printer. You know, when you got to kind of work things in. That was the only problems I've had with it. I had noise initially because I didn't put grease on the lead screws. Put grease on the lead screws, it made it, I would say, probably my quietest printer. I think it's actually quieter than my Prusa. It might be louder. The Prusa's in the closet in an enclosure, so it's tough to really compare them, but it's definitely quiet enough that I'll normally have it running while we're sitting on the other side on the couch watching TV or movies, and it does not distract. at all. I can barely tell. The salad fork, I don't know if you guys can hear it. I mean, I'm about 5 feet away, 4 feet away from it. But it's actually not too bad. Those motors are pretty quiet. I can hear it moving around. I can hear the fans more than the motors, really. But it's humming along at least. There may be noise cancellation on here. I know I'm the laptop that runs my streams. I run it because it's got the Intel Arc card for the AV1 encoding, and they don't have. I don't think they've got the broadcast type stuff like the NVIDIA does. I am looking at the possibility of going to a 40 series laptop so that I've got the full suite of the NVIDIA broadcast tools along with the AV1 encoding. I just don't like the price of them, especially when this laptop is like 15 months old, is all the longer I've had it. So it's like I don't really need a new laptop. This one is great. It does everything I need it to do. So it's really hard to justify one just as a streaming rig because this one is my normal everyday laptop as well. And my desktop has a 3090. So if I want to play PC games, why would I do it on a laptop when I've got the 3090 in the underwater on my desktop? So it's just gotten it's just really tough to justify upgrading something that doesn't have any need to be upgraded. So that was, let's see. Let me see if I can find that Panda Mini while we're waiting on this one to go through. I mean, it's looking pretty good so far. We'll get a closer look here in a minute. Okay, why am I not getting results? There we go. No, that's not what I wanted though. And for some reason, I had this happen to me where it auto detects me as in Deutschland. So I get all these German results. All right, there we go. Panda Mini. So basically fully printed and fully enclosed. I like that it's got that nice big axial fan on the side there to help part cooling, and that's going to help warm up your interior as well. V wheels for Z, linear rods for Y. Okay, so that one's a 140, 140. Oh, it's got two. I'm guessing it's there's another fan on the other side. So it says dual 120 mil layer cooling. Check out the bomb here. Okay, so this is using extrusion, so it's not quite as 3D printed. I did see it did say that it was still in beta. And Omron end stops, I've got a dozen or so of those just laying around. And it's only used for Z like the Rook is. BTT Pico. Okay. And dual 120, 24 volt for layer cooling. Okay. Some beefy boys there for cooling, but I bet that'll help a lot. All right. I'll have to take a longer look at this and watch his video on it. Updated a little over a week ago. So, yeah, I'll have to keep an eye on that. Last time I was on, I was looking for something for the Rook, so it must have been right before he posted that I was looking for stuff, because that was not up yet. So yeah, I'll definitely have to take a peek at that and see some more on it. I could definitely see needing to maybe raise it up a bit, get your electronics and everything underneath, unless it's using a backpack. But that's definitely nice. Having these fans might be a real nice thing for the Trident as well. Get some cross cooling on the Trident might be pretty nice. I'm not 100%. I did cancel my Prusa XL pre-order. I decided I'll hold off on that. That's just pricey. Since I was looking at doing the 5 tool heads, I was looking at $3,000 or thereabouts for the semi-assembled. So I decided to just skip that, and I canceled it. But I am looking at the new Bamboo Labs. There's some things I don't like about their ecosystem, but there's some things I do like about their ecosystem. And I really like that little AMS unit that's on there. From everything I've seen, that looks like it would be really nice to have, so I could possibly dabble in some dual and quad core or quad color prints, just to play around a little bit. So, and the price on that is at least compared to the XL, negligible. I think it's 5 something shipped, and even with extra build plate and that, I think they had a pretty good deal on it. So I haven't decided. I've got 2 weeks until the pre-sales go live, so we'll see. This is the set of heat sets that I've got. So this one has M2, M3, M4, and M5. So I'm pretty well set for anything I might need. And I've got a ton of other M3s as well. And I've actually got these here as well. These are the quarter 20 for making. Well, I didn't put one in there yet. Let's see if I've got it. Yeah, this one here. So this is a tripod mount for one of my webcams. I think it's for the Logitech Brio or one of the other ones, but it uses the quarter 20 for the threading for the tripods. So it was cheaper to order a big pack of 50 than it was to order a pack of 10 or 20. So I just ordered 20 of them. I've used one. But I've got other things that I'm looking at that I might be able to use it on. So 50 is not a bad amount to have. I'll go ahead and put my soldering tip back on here. Otherwise, I'm liable to forget that I've got the heat set on, go to heat it up to solder wires or circuit or something, and it'll get all the way to temp. I'll pull it out and I'll realize I can't solder with the heat set insert tool, and I have to wait for it to cool back down before I can do what I need to do. that is getting close. So I don't know how, oh, will help if I put it on the right camera. So, and I don't know if you guys can hear over the mic how loud it is. It's not too bad. Of course, the faster moves, as usual, a little louder than the slower moves. I do see some stringing and quite a bit of it. Nothing has been tuned. This is just, I took the V0 profile I had and I threw the IP address for the Rook on it. That is the only thing I've done to get it printing other than the stuff on the printer. So I'm not sweating some stringing on PLA. I've never printed PLA on the V0, so it'd probably be just as bad. It was just whatever PLA generic profile was already in Super Slicer. So I'm not going to sweat that. That's perfectly perfectly acceptable to see some stringing on there when it's, you know, the very first print and nothing has been done to make it any better. I will say it's going pretty good. I don't really see much as far as you see the typical layer line from the I don't know how well we can get the side here, but you can see let's see if you can see the Y. The lighting's not the greatest on this angle because the light is off to the other side of the printer, but definitely going pretty good. Showing it'll be done in 2 minutes. That might be a little ambitious. I think it's got a little more than 2 minutes left, but we'll let this finish out and then we'll call it once it's done. And then I'll start looking to see what is going to be next. I don't know if the Panda will be next, but that might, that's at least on the radar now. Doing things like this that are a little different from the normal stuff is always nice. And they can be more challenging because there's not anywhere near the documentation normally for it. And I'm not going to complain. I don't mind the challenge. At least give me a good indication or point me in the right direction. Like this vent for this magnetic vent for the Saturn, there was no instructions, but he had a couple of pictures so you could see what needed to be done. I mean, that's definitely not rocket science. That's pretty self-explanatory overall. So that was easy enough to figure out what needed to be done and where the heat sets needed to go and where the magnets needed to go. So that, and it's a total of like 6 pieces. I do have to order the hose, and I had either a power supply or a fan and power supply, and then I'll get it going. I am going to, I might set it up today. I got to buy the STL files, but I saw a Dragon that I really liked from Archvillain Games. It's a couple years old, but the model looks really cool. So I think I'm going to order that from them. I think it's like 10 or 12 bucks. So it's cheap. And then I'll print it out on the Saturn and let it go. maybe start painting again. We'll see. All right, well, I know that it's a bit warm still. The definitely hadn't had a chance for the plate to cool down. You can definitely see we got a little string there, and I don't know how well you can see inside there, but good bit of stringing on the inside. And I'm definitely getting some really good adhesion to this this PEI. I had the same thing when I did the other piece. Didn't really mean to print with supports, but I did anyway. Might be a little too close on my first layer. May have to back it off just a little bit. Yeah, I still see a lot of stringing in there. All right, yeah, these supports are melded pretty good. The one I did on the salad fork, they just popped right out. So I think I'm a little too close to the build plate. I mean, the first layer looks great, but that doesn't mean I'm not too close to the build plate. Some colors are, of course, easier to see on than others, but overall, for a first print, that's not bad. It definitely needs tuning, particularly in the probably temp and retraction for the PLA, but and even there, the support material setting might not be set correctly. It might be set to be a lot closer than what I would normally print my support materials at. So I'm not going to blame that on the printer. That's on the operator. But at least it printed. So I just know that I need to tune it a little bit. Most of that's going to be slicer. So if I give this to make Nashville, it'll definitely need to work with them to get it tuned. I know they've got quite a few 3D printer guys there already, so and they do an open house every Friday. Unfortunately, I work Fridays, so I don't normally get to do anything like that. And it's downtown, which I avoid downtown like the plague. Don't get up there very often. There's not really any good reason if you're not a tourist to go downtown unless you work there. And luckily, I work from home and not out of the office. Otherwise, I'd have to drive there every day for work. Yeah, I think I think the settings on this are just too close. Might be set for like a soluble material, or it could be set at 0.1 instead of the 0.2 I would normally use. And this model doesn't even need supports anyway, so I'll tweak it and play around with it and see what I get. But I think we're going to leave it right there, guys. We do see that it's printing. It is working correctly. Everything seems to be going well with it, other than, you know, needing to be tuned a bit for this or that. I can mess with the Z offsets easy enough. I can play around in the slicer with the settings for the supports, the settings for retraction, and get that. This is also Bowden set up where the profile is actually set up for direct drive, so that's probably where all my stringing is coming from not enough retraction for a Bowden setup. So we'll leave it there, and I will try to get the next video or the next link posted. We may have another, if I can come up with something, I might post just a video, not a stream. If I can, I'm sure I've got things I can do that I can just do a video on instead of a stream. And then I'll try to get the next stream posted the day before at least, to let everybody know rather than just a couple hours. I had new tires put on the car this morning, didn't know how long it was going to take, so I didn't want to commit to a time frame until I knew when I'd be available. So I'll try to get it up a day or two ahead of time. That way people can plan and schedule instead of just, oh, hey, somebody's streaming, let me watch it kind of thing. But everybody have a great day. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.